Completely surrounded by a network of steel scaffolding, the Washington Monument recently was overhauled to preserve its beauty and to correct the results of years of exposure to all kinds of weather. This was the nation's #1 repair job. Uncle Sam leads the way in preserving the value and beauty of our national landmarks. The workmen have to be veritable human flies as they labor 500 feet in the air at the peak of the world's highest repair job. And here it stands in all its renewed glory, an architectural gem in the nation's capital. Robert Hoge, first vice president of the Immigrant Industrial Savings Bank of New York City, speaks on remodeled business property.
The Immigrant Industrial Savings Bank became the owner of a 6-story store and office building fronting on Broadway, 22nd Street, and 5th Avenue, New York City. The ground floor was originally laid out into one small store and one large store. It was decided to remodel this large store, cutting it up into 4 smaller ones. Although these alterations are not yet entirely completed, all of the 4 stores have been rented. Before remodeling, the entire space yielded a yearly rental of about $5,800 from the 2 tenants who occupied the space. Today, with this new layout, the yearly rentals average over $11,500, approximately twice the old figure. The remodeling work cost slightly over $17,000. The increased rents will therefore pay the cost of the improvement in about 3 years. Moreover, the income will be safer, for the bank will now have 5 tenants instead of 2, and the modernized layout will be very much more rentable than the obsolete one which it replaced.
Every woman would like to modernize her living room, but too often she puts it off because she thinks she can't afford it. Few people realize that a room can be completely redecorated at a very moderate cost. Here is a room that was furnished in 1920. Let us see what can be done to bring it up to date. First, remove the furniture, then replace this unattractive mantel with a simple, ready-built one. For the center fixture, which comes down, we substitute base plugs for lamps. Now as to redecorating. First, we paint the woodwork, then paper the walls. We now have a basis for a modern room, clean, bright, and cheerful. Bookshelves with a window seat between are built in. They are convenient, decorative, and charming. In redressing the windows, we use casement curtains and Venetian blinds. They are smart and practical, freely admitting light and air. On the floor, a plain rug, or cleaning might do wonders for the old one if the design is good. And finally, the furniture, modernized with slipcovers. A few new occasional pieces, lamps and accessories, and the room is complete. Not much has been spent, yet there's a vast difference between the room of 1920 and that of 1935.
These far-sighted fire laddies have figured out a way to prevent fires like this by doing a little spare-time canvassing. They are examining houses for fire hazards and explaining how they may be eliminated through the aid of the National Housing Act. Fireman Harry Thompson shows some of the fire hazards eliminated by the campaign. This piece of rusty stovepipe was a deadly menace. The safety of a building was endangered by this frayed electric wiring. And here, loose bricks in a chimney was a possible source of fire. Fire Chief Kennedy comments on the plan.
We find that almost 75% of all fires occur in buildings that need repairs. To correct this, we are calling on property owners and examining their premises and advising them of fire hazards. we explain how they can take advantage of the National Housing Act to correct these conditions. So far, the plan has been very successful.
Hammers are ringing, saws are singing, new plastering, plumbing, cement work, wiring, heating, bricklaying, and painting. New work going on all over the country as the remodeling program sponsored by Uncle Sam hits its full stride. Here are some of the results of the first 6 months' activities. $248 million of new business have been created, every dollar of it protecting and improving the investment value of homes and buildings. Industry already has pledged over $550 million for plant and equipment improvement for 1935. Over 750,000 men are now employed on better housing jobs, with thousands more directly benefiting in other lines of work. If the total expenditures of the Federal Housing Administration were charged against this first stage of the development, it would mean an expenditure of only $2.32 of government funds to have provided each of these family heads with a paying job and renewed self-respect. Property owners everywhere are making needed repairs or desirable alterations in residential, farm building, and business property. Some are using their own funds for these purposes. Others are borrowing the necessary money under the broad and liberal provisions of the National Housing Act. The President's objective of a new nation of finer homes, improved buildings, employment of men, and stimulation of trade is rapidly being realized. Every hamlet, village, town, and city can be made a happier, more prosperous community by following the President's leadership.